Hello, in the video. Today we're going to take a look at some top teams that you can run in the Open Ultra League now around the newly released Pokemon / new move updates, as we can now take a fast look at the meta itself real quick, and then we can take a look at 5 top teams around some of the new Pokemon. Taking a fast look into the meta now, we're going to see some differences than what we've known before. Main difference here, we're going to see Cobalion now having access to Double Kick and Sacred Sword together. Sacred Sword is a Body Slam clone as far as I know. Going to be very nice, as well as Revision here, which also going to be very nice with this. Counters to those, of course, are again the Trevenant, which is still going to be one of the best, if not the best Pokemon now for the Open Ultra League. And other than this, you see stuff like Swampert still. We see Obstagoon pretty high, which I wouldn't count that high because there are a lot of other counter users which will kind of threaten you, and as well as a lot of new charm users. Then you're gonna see here Buzzwole being now basically into the meta at rank 9. Talonflame's biggest nemesis there going to be this thing, but it's still fine. You don't have any coverage move here, but it's a really good Pokemon that we also have some teams around. Very good typing, very good moveset. Other things that changed, Dubwool is now in here, and also the Steelix is in here. Dubwool at rank 15, you want kind of hundo. Maybe even if you have a 14, 15, 15, it's by the way the rank 1 if you best buddy it. Then you have other Pokemon like here the Steelix that got a little bit higher with the Psychic Fangs. But also you see now the Walrein still at rank 20, Walrein is not gone, Walrein is still strong. And you see some other Pokemon like the Dragonite here with Superpower that got a little bit higher up. And I think that's basically it. You see the Miltank still here with Tackle. Tackle is definitely the way to go if you want to use Miltank. We also have a team with this Pokemon later on. And yeah, this is basically it for this. I actually kind of want to know where Runerigus is real quick. I actually haven't seen it yet. Maybe I went over it. And then we can start right into the review. The Runerigus is at rank 69. Nice. The first team going to be with Pidgeot in the lead here, which is actually one of the most underrated Pokemon here. Will be able to beat those ghost types that you don't want to face with your backline, as your backline really relies on the fighting type moves, which is really good for the Pidgeot because Pidgeot doesn't want to face ice types or steel types. So you're going to have an ABB line here again, where your Say Swap going to be the Cobalion, trying to bait out the potential Talonflame while having access to Stone Edge. And then you kind of try to sweep endgame with your Verzian, having access to the Sacred Sword plus Leaf Blade spam, going to be amazing in this new meta. And I think this team definitely has a lot of play, especially Pidgeot going to be very good nowadays as well, because you see a lot of Pokemon like the Verzian itself or the Buzzwole, which are double or even double or 4-time weak against the flying typing, where Gust really going to shine. So this Pokemon going to be really even way better nowadays. And the Pokemon in the back there is also going to be very nice. Also a kind of cheapish team, of course. You have to big XL the Pidgeot there, but it's a Pidgey, literally you find them pretty commonly. The next team going to include the Buzzwole here in a double counter users team here with the Snorlax in the lead. Snorlax going to try to basically beat all those ghost types you don't want to face with your backline. You might even want to go for an Earthquake version of the Snorlax, depends on what you prefer here, as you don't really need the fighting type coverage, but that's based on you. Maybe even Outrage would be an interesting pick, as you would be able to hit those Trevenants with this as well. Other than this, you're going to use your Say Swap of the Deoxys Defense here. Going to be a little bit risky with all those Trevenants around, but you're still going to have access to the Psycho Boost, which will still do a lot of damage, and then you can align your Snorlax to lick it down, get an energy lead, and then try to basically sweep with the Pokemon in the back, which is going to be your Buzzwole. Hopefully also going to get out those fairy types with your Deoxys Defense, as they would resist your counter damage. So hopefully they swap into you, because then you don't have to face them with your Buzzwole as well. But in general, trying to use the Deoxys Defense as a pseudo fighter is of course always really cool. Of course, not a lot of people have this thing. You could also go for a double fighting strategy again, but we also can take just a look at another team that you can kind of run with the Buzzwole if you want to use the Buzzwole. The next team going to be around the Buzzwole again, as you have the Buzzwole in the lead here. You want to use the Dubwool as a Say Swap here, as you have again the fighting type coverage with this Pokemon. What is also really good for this Pokemon is that it also has coverage for Psychic type Pokemon with the what's called the payback there. The payback is really cool in this Pokemon, so maybe try this out as well. And then you have in the back a Pokemon that you can use whatever you want. I just put Miltank here. I don't think Miltank is even the best one, but you could use Miltank here, but then you're a little bit weaker against ghost types, even though they cannot do really anything against you as well. And actually all the ghost types are really weak to the Ice Beam coverage that Miltank has, so I think Miltank is actually pretty fine here. But if you want a cheaper version here for this team, you can also use again Snorlax as a save swap for your Buzzwole. You can also use the Greedent as a save swap for your Buzzwole, and then as a Pokemon in the back you can also use something like the Drapion or also the Skuntank or also the Alolan Muk. So you can also make a completely 0XL version of this team if you just use your Buzzwole, your Snorlax save swap and the Alolan Muk in the back. The next team going to be amazing as well. You're going to have the Swampert in the lead here, being able to counter those Nidoqueens and also those Steel types that you don't really want to face with your backline. And then you have in the back the Slurpuff as your save swap, now having access to Fairy Wind, plus the coverage moves of Flamethrower and Energy Ball, going to be amazing for this scenario, as you're going to be able to get out those Steel types that you don't really want to face with the Swamp, like with the Pokemon in the back there. You don't want to face the Steel types or with your Ninetales or any other Charmer, but you really want to face them with your Swampert. But actually your Slurpuff going to be fine as well, as you have access to the Flamethrower. You're going to be able to survive any kind of move from the Registeel as well if they come into you, because they usually don't run a Flash Cannon. And then you can just go ahead, go for some Flamethrowers, weaken this thing. You could even flip a switch advantage sometimes against this thing. And in general, like the Slurpuff going to punish a lot of those swaps in that you usually would face against those Fairy or Charm type users there. So it's going to be amazing. And then you have the Ninetales in the back to clean up the game. Should give you some more coverage as well against those Grass type Pokemon as well, with the Weather Ball Ice that you can get to pretty fast even though you're on Charm. And yeah, otherwise you can also use any other Charm user in the back. I know that some people run it also with Obstagoon in the lead, but I would be a little bit too scared about those Nidoqueens, to be honest. So I think this is the ideal scenario, running the Swampert in the lead. Of course you can use the Shadow Swampert as well if you have this. Doesn't really matter too much. And we can go into the final team now. The final team is my favorite no XL team, but it just got better. We have the Dragonite in the lead now, having access to the superpower, makes this team less weak against Registeel leads, or in general like normal Steel leads. And you have the save swap here of the Scissor. You can also use the Trevenant as a save swap now, should be even better with the Walrein most likely being gone. And then you have the Escav in the back, and the combination between the Escavalier and also the Dragonite is basically next to perfect. The Escav can counter stuff like the Steel types, the stuff like the Ice types, while the Dragonite can counter those Fire types that you don't really want to face with the Escav. Also those Fighting types you also don't really want to face with both Steel types in the back. I know they're part bugs, but still counter just hurts if it's neutral. So yeah, this team basically got even better. I can't wait to try this team out. You can run any kind of Shadow version. The Shadow version that I really would recommend you though would be the Shadow Scissor if you want to use it as a save swap. The main idea, by the way, behind the Shadow Scissor, if you didn't watch my previous videos about this team, is to bait out the potential Trevenant, because they usually think this is an Escav that swaps in, because they are just not used to a Scissor. And then you have access to the Bullet Punch and Night Slash, which will always wins you the game then in general, like they swap in anyway. So yeah, you will be able to realign. Then you have a Dragon onto Steel type, and basically both of them have a perfect coverage together. So it should be fine for you. That's going to also be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, or if you found this video helpful, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. I hope you have a fantastic day, and that's going to be it. Bye.